What's up, Drumtrepreneurs? Welcome back to another episode of the Drummers I Like podcast. It's episode 104, and it's a solo show today because we're going to talk about the 7 reasons why every drummer should own the best beginner drum book. Seriously, there's 7 great things about this book that, for me, from the perspective of really drummer, it's kind of fundamental. And I got to say that I've had the product now for about 3 months, and I'm glad I waited so long to do this because it's really done a lot for my playing and really helped me understand probably a lot of the missing pieces of the big puzzle that make up all my playing. Bad technique, a full understanding of rudiments, when to use technique, styles of music to play in, what I should be working on, what notation is, the values of all these notations. All these things I really didn't know. I knew how to play drums for the most part. I watched a bunch of videos. I'm taking some lessons, but I never really dug in like I dug into this book. And what it ended up doing, the most profound part for me, was that it opened me up to other instructional DVDs and books and stuff like that. And I have to say, this is like kind of the culmination of some of the greatest books out there. It really fine tunes it. And today we're going to talk about those 7 things. Let's get started with reason number 1, which to me, honestly, might be one of the number 1 reasons. And it teaches you how to set your drums up. And to me, this has been like a day 1 problem. I've never, ever felt comfortable behind the kit. I've never had anyone sit down and go through posture with me. I've never had anyone sit down and say, hey, the drums should be like this. The tom should be here. The floor tom should be there. Yes, I know it's subjective. I know that everybody has their own way and that there's no standard when it comes to music, right? It is subjective, truly is. But there are ways to do it so you don't hurt your back. There are ways to do it so that you don't hurt your wrists and then you get the most advantage out of all your hits and all your playing abilities. This had me taking my kit apart every day for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight. And I think the most profound part about that is it taught me not to be so scared of taking the kit apart, because I was definitely that guy for 10 years straight in a band that you can't touch my fucking drums, because if you touch my drums and move my seat up or down, you're gonna ruin my life. It's gonna be such an anxiety thing for me that I'm not gonna be able to play my next show because I don't really know how high I sit. It's also because I just don't really know how to play drums that well, and I should have probably taken some lessons in the beginning. So it was my fault in the end, but it would cause so many issues for me. And I don't know, chapter 1 just took all that stuff away from me. It made the fear go away. So definitely my favorite part about the book is my first reason, which is just setting the drums up. It's so important, and I think you get a lot out of it. And that'll bring me on to my second reason for really liking this book and why I think every drummer needs it. And it's the fact that it breaks down technique so well. It thoroughly breaks down technique in ways that I didn't really understand before. I think that there are so many different types out there that it seems like a technical overload for me. But to open the book and see American, German, French, all laid out next to each other, that was like a visual phenomenon for me to be able to go, oh, so boom, boom, boom. So that's how it works. I was doing it wrong the whole time. It's so cool to see that type of stuff because for me as a learner, I'm very visual. I have to see things. As much as I need it to be broken down, I have to see it being done first so I can at least figure out in my mind a way to template it. And literally looking at this book, you open it up and you see all 3 next to each other. That brings me to the third reason why you need to own this book, why every drummer should have the best beginner drum book. And it helps you read music. Chapter 4 is all about note values made easy. And this was a no-brainer for me because I've had no fundamental teaching. Even the lessons I've gotten, no one sat down and said, this is how you read music. These are what note values are. This is how you should use it. This is also how you should practice it. Oh my gosh, none of that shit to me, nothing. And because of that, there are millions of times where I've been playing in a band for 7-8 years. I've toured at this point. I'm around other drummers that are so good that have passed on a mutual respect. But then when they start talking about the technical stuff, or they start talking about rudiments, or they start talking about, oh yeah, that was 16th notes. I did quarter note fill there, and then I did this, and I was playing in 3/4. It would just start creating this cluster in my mind of things that I didn't understand. And immediately, my confidence dropped. My ability to feel like I could be a part of the conversation dropped. And all of a sudden, I feel like, damn, they're actually real drummers. I'm a fake. I'm a poser. I'm a total poser right now. I don't know any of this stuff. I can play it, but I can't talk about it. I can't break it down. To some people that might not be that important, but to me it was. It really was. So without a teacher, I've just kind of been YouTubing it for the last couple of years, and I've learned a lot. I'm not saying you can't learn a lot from free information out there. There's so much, but having it broken down in like a layman's way, like to compare it to, what's that book series that was out a long time ago? Something for Dummies, right? Drum technique or note values for dummies. That's what I felt like I always needed. And I'm not saying that this is an exact replica of something like that would be, but maybe it is. I don't know. But it reminds me of note values for dummies, and it's so easy for someone like me to understand it without like a Jared over my shoulders. Like, no, that was wrong. It should be like this. No, you're not really taking it in the right way. It should be like this. And that's powerful for me. That's really powerful for me. And that section alone, I may have spent the most time in so far, because I'm attracted to it. I love it. I love understanding these things, and I love being able to break down what I'm doing to a really, really fine-tuned manner. And now I can explain it better. So that's definitely one of my favorite sections as well. And that moves us on to our next section that is one of my favorite parts of the book. Another reason why you need this is it cuts through all the bullshit with rudiments. Like realistically, when I first approached learning my rudiments, what do you think I saw? Learn all 40 rudiments. Get this book. 50 rudiments, 100 rudiments. This rudiment, that rudiment, double single strokes, parallel single strokes, parallel double pedal, blah, 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 blah. So much stuff. It's overwhelming. So what did I do? I picked one and I stuck to it. Paradiddles, which fundamental. It teaches you so much. You're working on single strokes. You're working on double strokes. You're working on all that stuff. But all I knew forever was paradiddle. I couldn't do single strokes, or I could do single strokes, obviously, but I didn't understand that they were single strokes. I didn't know that a double stroke could be done with your hand, like actually doing two strokes, or you could rebound. Like there's so many things I didn't understand about rudiments and how to play them that to open up chapter 5, it's chapter 5 in the book, and see that they stuck to 5. That's it. Single strokes, double strokes, paradiddles. It's so simplified that it kind of made me think, damn, if I'd have just had this book, if I would have had just 5, stuck to these 5, I could have deleted all the clutter out of the hard drive of my brain and just focused on these ones that mattered most. And that's what I've been doing. I've dialed it all back. I'm working on the top 5 right now. I'm only focused on these, and my playing and my thought process and the way that I'm thinking has expanded phenomenally. And it's all just off these 5 rudiments. And I think that's something as drummers, it's drummers that happens to us a lot. It happens to me a lot, is that there's so much going on. There's so many things that are happening when you're playing drums, no matter what style of music, that it's easy to go into ADHD mode, ADD mode, and trail off and play different things. If you can discipline yourself to these 5 rudiments, focusing them with these note values and sticking to technique, you can really bundle up everything you want to do in drumming and focus on those things, get them mastered, take the box out, bring another box of techniques and stuff in, and master those while also working on all those things. That is what I think the best approach to drums is, for me at least, and I think that's what's so sick about chapter 5, is that it simplifies it. Plain and simple. It simplifies rudiments and the approach to actually learning, practicing, and mastering those rudiments. So another great reason on why you need to own this book, why every drummer needs to have the best beginner drum book. Now getting on to my 5th reason. It actually breaks down how to apply technique and when to apply technique, which is phenomenally important. Fairly one of the most important things in the world. It's like when to play ghost notes, when to do rim shots, when to cross stick, when to play with mallets, all that type of stuff. I didn't really know. This broke it down so much, even getting into the musical styles that you should be playing them in. It's super sick because I've never had anyone sit down and show me not only how to cross stick, but why you should cross stick. When other people have cross sticked and use this method to apply it to their playing, not only to make the drums sound sick or to add some kind of subtle nuance feeling, but also to complement the music you're playing with. And that's the best part about this section, is that as you're going through it, you get to the very end and it gives you a listening list, a list of songs you should be listening to that demonstrate all these methods, and it points them out. Listen to this for cross-sticking, listen to this for rim shots, listen to this for ghost notes, listen to this for these types of accents. It's so thorough and so well thought out that now, and I'm going to keep saying this, that was my favorite part. Like, they're all my favorite parts. That's why I picked these 7, because I do think they're all the best 7 reasons on why every drummer needs to own this book. But it is a little selfish in the sense that I can't really say one is better than the other, because I like them all so much. I think they're all the best. So I don't mean to be selfish about one section, but they are all so good. And if I had to pick just one, I'd pick them all. That's why there's 7. So that's a cool section. Honestly, one of my favorites. I love having an understanding of how to apply these things. Once again, it's cool to show me, it's cool to teach me, but if you can help me understand it, like the true theory of it all, you're hitting it out of the ballpark for me. That's the best of the best of the best, sir.
We're here because you're looking for the best of the best of the best, sir.
So let's get on to the next chapter, and why I keep calling it the next chapter. Let's get on to the next section on why I think you need to own this book, because it is so sick. And I keep referring to it as a book, but literally it's a drumming manual. It is a Bible. It is something that you will keep forever and always reference back to. I think that drummers of all like levels, styles, understandings can benefit from a book like this. That's why number 6 is probably one of the best parts too. It's the best part too as well, is it helps you understand the different styles of music: funk, bossa nova, Latin. It breaks down all these styles, how you should be playing in these styles, and really how to pick them out. Like, it's so well thought out, and I didn't expect it. I try to approach books like this from I'm not going to read all the chapters, I'm just going to go through it, and to get to that part after being overwhelmed with like all these different ways to play, all these different exercises, because I'm skipping over like half the chapters. I'm only telling you like the ones that I really like the most, but to be real honest, I like them all. I think they're all fundamental, but these ones stuck out, and this one's more towards the end, because I think it's trying to help you put together everything you've learned and help you understand when to apply it, not just how and like different ways, like when it's getting into the different techniques and how to use it, but now it's like, let me tell you what type of songs and type of music styles are out there, and when you should be playing them, how you should be playing them, stuff like that. This part really did that for me, and it really helped me. It really just helped me get the mindset right, if that makes sense. Doing this podcast for so long as purely a player who's obsessed with other drummers, I found myself, like I said, and I'll keep bringing it up, missing out on the fundamentals of learning, skipping over little things that I just didn't think mattered that much, because I wasn't going to be a touring drummer for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be a studio guy. Like, it's not like I'm going to be exceeding some crazy level. I'm just doing a podcast. I'm just talking to my favorite drummers. But I'm selling myself short. You sell yourself short in life, in my opinion, when you don't put yourself through process. That's something that I've had to learn the hard way, and a lot of missing out of in my 20s is just skipping over, half-assing things, doing something to get it done quick, as opposed to really understanding, utilizing, and enjoying the long haul process. And that's what's so good about this book, is it does help you do that. And getting into these sections, they're not ones you can just read and be done with. You have to come back and continually study and put yourself together a nice practice plan, which they do in the beginning of the book. They give you a nice way to really define how to keep your goal setting in place, how to follow up with yourself, how to really continue to practice these things, because it's super important to do so. It's super important to keep doing this stuff, to always go back to it, to keep retraining, retesting, pushing yourself, because that's the only way you're going to master these techniques, and the only way you're going to be able to get to the next level, to the higher plane of drumming. So let's move on to the 7th and final reason I think every drummer needs to own this manual. It's really because, honestly, it's the best way to put this without sounding so plain. You know what? I'm gonna have to. It just helps you get better at drums overall. It really does. Maybe not in one specific form, but in all forms. It helps you focus on your technique. It helps you understand how to read music. It helps you understand what type of music there is, what ways to apply the way you play to those types of music, how to use those techniques best, how to get the best out of your playing, how to practice, when to practice, what to practice. And the best part about it is, like, I'm missing out. I'm not jumping into a lot of these other things that are in here, but like, they break down all these independence exercises, and they teach you all these things that you're not just learning about all the facts, but you're learning how to play the out of your drums. And that to me is the cherry on top. It's one thing to teach me all this stuff, but if you go through this entire manual, you go all through every chapter and really focus and master it and get through everything, you will be such a good drummer. You will be one of the best drummers of all time. Like, you will be so good at playing and have such a solid foundation of understanding that it's gonna put you in a place that you probably never thought you would be at. And I did not think that I would become so obsessed with this book to the point of it pushing me to become more obsessed with other training manuals, DVDs, books, stuff like that, teaching me that actually I love to learn drums. I love to self-educate, because that's what you do. You self-educate, right? I love it so much that I'm going to explore other methods of it. Furthermore, next time I get a drum lesson, I'm going to shut the hell up and listen and take notes and really try to take a different approach to the way that I take in educational material. Because when someone tells you, I imagine for a lot of us, when you have drum lessons, a drummer will just give you a lesson and it's for some of us in one ear and out the other. But to have the lesson be told to you, to have it on paper, to furthermore be able to take that paper and study it later and then come back to your teacher or come back to the person who taught you this and go over it again, that's fundamental. And that's what this does. Because, I think I mentioned it in the first one, but when you get this, they give you a free 30-day trial to Drumeo Edge, which is badass, because now you can take all this stuff and start applying it across the board and have other drummers check you out, have all the other you upload this stuff and other educational teachers will go over it and help you get better at it. There's literally a lesson for every piece of this book behind Drumeo Edge's paywall, and there's a ton of stuff back there that's going to help you take these applications to the next level. So on top of that, I do feel like between this and their P4 pad and the whole idea of Drumeo in general, they've created a way to teach yourself by being taught by all the best players in the freaking world. It's super sick. It's pedagogy at its finest, while also having what I think is most important is that you could have a million teachers, right? But you need a mentor. You need someone that's holding you accountable, that's pushing you, that you can go to with your problems and express them and have someone help you solve them. Like, you need that. And that's what this is for drummers. It's a great starting point and a great ending point. And in between it is so much information that not one single drummer couldn't benefit from a book like this. You could be like literally your Gary Husband, literally your Jojo Mayer, literally your Stuart Copeland, and you could benefit from a book like this. And I imagine they'd say the same thing. Or you're Johnny 2 times, I just got my first kit, I've never played before, I'm 16. Or you're Johnny 3 times, I just got my first kit, I'm 40, and I never played before. This is gonna help you. It really is. That's why I like it so much. That's why I'm excited about it. That's why I'm doing a whole series on it. I really love it. I've become so obsessed with it, and a lot of the stuff Drumeo has done has just inspired me as a whole, and I'm honored. I really am honored to be able to spend time with you and talk about this product, because it's truly great. I've been so obsessed with it, so I want you to check it out. Now, something I didn't talk about in the first video that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give away 4 copies of this. Drumeo was nice enough to send me over a handful, and in hopes that I wouldn't destroy it in my review series, because they didn't know if I'd like it or not. But thank you, Jared. Seriously, thank you to the whole Drumeo team, Brandon Tells, for putting this together with Jared. Like, you guys are geniuses. You guys are really smart, and I can't wait to shake Brandon's hand. I met Jared a handful of times. I love the guy to death, but this is truly something profound for drummers. So I'm going to give away 4 copies of it, and here's how you get the 4 copies. What I want you to do is, on your Instagram, I want you to tag Drummers I Like, and hashtag and in at Drummers I Like, I want you to tag at Jared Falk, and I want you to tag Drumeo. And I want you to do a quick 15, 20 second video of what you need to work on the most in your playing and why you need to work on it. That's it. Just tell me, like, hey, my weak point is... Example, hey, what's up, guys? My name's Dirk Diggler, and I'm just having such a hard time with my technique lately. I do feel like if I could focus more, have another way to learn it, have a teacher teach me, I'll be better at playing blast beats. I'll be better at playing ghost notes. I'll be better at beating the meat stick. I don't know. But anything you want to do that you think, just tag at Drummers I Like, tag Jared, tag Drumeo, and I'll check it out. I'm off the cuff right now, but I'll check it out, and I will pick the top 4, and I'll announce the winners next week on the show, and I'll send you all a copy of the Best Beginner Drum Book. And that's what I think my favorite part about the product is how it came. You'll see when I ship it to you if you win it. And if you don't, just go to Drumeo and buy the damn thing. It's like $20, dude. $20. You know how much I paid Matt Halpern for my first flipping lesson? Like $50. I did learn a lot, but it was more or so to network. You know what I mean? So do yourself a favor. On top of buying stuff like this, go buy the P4 pad. Go buy anything you can that's under $30 that's going to teach you for 20 years straight, because that is value. That is value. To go on to hudsonmusic.com, for example, and like see all these different DVDs that were for sale, it kind of blew my mind at the accessibility, right? But if you go to Drumeo, you have all that same access, but you have fucking mentors and coaches and educators and people that are there every day trying to get better at playing themselves so they can benefit your playing. So I want to thank you all so much for spending time with me today on our first review series video. I've got a lot planned. I've got about 10 products that I'm working on right now that everybody's been asking me about, from K-Brakes to the Yamaha EAG10 and how I've been using that to create tons of content with amazing audio that is a couple step process, but it's super sick. So be on the lookout for that. But do yourself a favor. Like I said, pick up the Best Beginner Drum book. Go to drumeo.com right now. Look for this book. Buy it. I will put a link down below. It is so profound. I'm not going to shut up about it. I love it so much. So check it out. It's Drumeo.com. Check it out, and we'll see you next week. I appreciate your time. I'll be back next week with another episode of the podcast with Dimitri Fantini, and we'll also be releasing another review video next week on a product that I think is very amazing. So thanks a lot. We'll see you next week, and thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week.